that. Your exhalations, I want the focus to be taking them to the bottom floor of your lungs. Well, my son, my little boy, and all his cousins run upstairs to the top floor so we can take class. You take your breath to the bottom floor. Yeah. Hug your knees to your chest. With your feet flexed. Draw the breath in as you squeeze the air out. Allow yourself to rock side to side. Take your knees away from your chest a little bit on the breath in. And as you exhale, knees squeeze to the chest, but the tailbone lengthens toward the feet. There's some for you. Rock side to side again. Take your left leg straight out in front of you. Flex through the left foot. Right knee hugs in. Lift up your head and shoulders off the ground. And then squeeze in the right side. And then switch sides. And switch sides. Right knee hugs the chest, left leg extending, and switch. And switch. And switch. And hug both knees to the chest. Doing that was just trying to get a little spark, to light the spark, to light the match of the energy in the core. And then take your legs straight up to the ceiling. Hands stay behind your head. With the feet flexed, pulse up on the out breath. On the inhale, go down. Come up as you breathe out. On the inhale, fill the lungs. Empty the breath, squeeze. Fill. Squeeze. Fill. Squeeze. Hug both knees to your chest. Take your hands behind your head. You're going to roll completely onto your right hip. So roll all the way onto your right side. Your chest, however, is going to stay centered to the front of, to the ceiling. The elbows out to the sides. You're going to exhale right here. You're going to inhale by lifting the head and shoulders off the ground, pulsing up to that right hip. You're going to come back. Take a breath in. When you lift up, squeeze the air out. Another one. Fill your lungs. Extinguish. Fill. Press the air out, and the more you pull the belly into the spine, you'll press that air out, then you'll really have space. Now please switch to the other side, left side. Chest stays centered to the ceiling. Here you go. Get the air out by coming up. Fill up. Empty out. Fill up. Press the air out. Fill up. Press the air out. Come back to center. Right leg crosses over your left leg entirely. Entirely, yeah. And then take the arms out to the sides. Oh, a little lower than shoulder level. Palms are up. Take a breath in. And drop your knees left. Move your chin to the right shoulder. Take a breath in. Soften through the out breath. This whole entire practice is so powerful because it is about strengthening and also stretching. So really, ideally, it's strengthening and lengthening. And the more we lengthen the muscle, the more strides we can make in our life. Not just in our bodies. Our bodies show up for our life. Bring your knees back up. Switch sides. Keep the leg crossed, the same leg crossed, but just take it over to the right, please. But let the exhale move you to that side. Breath comes in. Mouth opens, clear the sound. Come on back up. Uncross. Left side. Allow the legs to drop to the right. Yeah, your other right, Sam. Keep finding the exhalations. Move them to the bottom floor. Move them to the bottom floor. In my meditation practice this morning, my mind felt very wired. I have a long day today. I have a lot of work to do for clients, and I'll be working straight through till evening at some point. But it's great stuff. It's great work, and yet I would feel so wired. Take your knees back to center. Please switch sides, the legs the way they are. Just drop. Now drop them left, Sam. But even though it's great stuff that I've got to look forward to, it's work that so fulfills me and connecting to people and all of that, I still need to be really it's paramount that I be centered. And my breath, I started to notice how my mind felt so just wired, like high-strung. Take your exhale, soften them to the bottom floor. And my breath was also erratic. My mind was jumping around and thinking, well, what if I get overwhelmed? I have a lot to prepare for today. I have a lot of people counting on me and all of that. And it's so easy to get into that headspace. And all of a sudden, I realized, stretch my breath to the deepest bottom floor. Make my exhales longer and slower. And suddenly, everything about everything just, I don't know, it was like leaves were all rustling in the air or something in the corners of my mind. And then through that long, deep exhalation, deep meaning, take it as far as you can. It's like all those leaves just kind of floated to the pavement of my mind. Like if you think of that analogy. So use your exhalations and stretch them out. And when you do that, you will release physical tension where it's held a little deeper, and also you will deeply soothe your mind. And that's all practice is about today, Kendra. Bring your knees back up to center. You're just here for that. Uncross. Everyone, hug both knees into your chest, but don't worry, Sam, you'll still work. Roll all the way to the right side, everybody. Roll all the way to the right side. Bring yourself to your hands and knees. Come on up to seated, and then just place yourself on your hands and knees. Right away, check out your alignment. Check out your alignment, because looking at your own hands, looking at your own palms and fingers is how you will know. Looking, seeing, and also feeling is how you will know the truth of true alignment in your body. Look at your knees. Doesn't matter that you're on your hands and knees on the mat often. Look at it like it's all brand new today. Look at your knees. Jim, take your knees in tiny, tiny bit closer. Like barely, but enough. Yeah. And then take your hands, Jim, just tiny bit more under the shoulders. Perfect. And you should feel like really plugged in now. Do you? That's what you want. That alignment is going to give you such power to get the maximum benefit of your poses. Long inhale, chest and tailbone stretch apart. Long exhalation, chin presses to the chest. Belly needs to hike up into the spine. Arms are straight, because if you straighten the arms, you'll have the arms to press straight through the floor so that you get leverage to push through the upper back. The tailbone has to drop toward the heels. You're all still in the same pose. You're still in this. Now, release your belly. Let it soften toward the floor. Draw the breath in. And when you breathe out, round like an angry cat. Come back to center. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. Hips go up and back, head drops down. Make sure that your palms plug into the floor, where it's like you're pushing the floor down and away from you, and the hips are drawn back as a result. You press the floor away from you with your hands. It's a micro movement, but it'll yield big results of the hips being really drawn away from the shoulders. Soften through the exhale. Just let it fall out. Take a breath in. And instead of your exhale just falling through cracks, just let it fall right out. Let it bottom out. Excellent, Jim. Draw the breath in. As you breathe out, press your hips over to the right side, like you're sticking your hip to the right corner of the room, right wall, and then come back to center. Exhalation, we'll press the left hips over to the left. Come back to center, pick up both heels. Very mindfully breathe out to let the heels soften down. Take your legs together. Take your left leg to the sky. Very good. You guys are awake and on point. Leg higher. Bend the upper knee, roll it open. And I want you to roll open slowly. And if it feels better to drop your right knee down, I want to see you do that. Take the leg a little higher. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to swing that right knee forward. Your shoulders will come right over your wrists. So the leg's up in the air. You roll the hip back to center, and you just lean forward. Swing the right knee in. Take that leg up. Open it up. Breathe out. That's great. Roll the hip down. Foot on the ground. Press the right heel toward the floor. Geez Louise. Now right leg up. Right leg up. Breathing. As you lift the knee up, that knee lines up higher with the hip, and then from there you roll open. If the knee is lower, it's going to be fatiguing to keep the leg in the air, and it's also going to keep creating the misalignment. So even if you don't roll open, I want you to really get the action of the knee lining up with the hip. And then one day you just breathe out and the knee and hip just peel open simultaneously together. Roll the hip down. Swing that knee forward. Leg goes up in the air. Empty the breath. Roll open if you choose. Upper foot presses. Roll your right hip down and take the foot down to the ground. Pick up both heels. Tiptoe, feet to your hands. Place your palms right on the shins. I'd say right just under the kneecaps. It's going to make your chest come up nice and high. But now bend your knees much and press those hips back. This is great. What you did was you just literally flattened yourself right out. Now I just want you to add this piece to it, everybody. Tuck your chin in toward your chest a little bit. Use the crown of your head to just press like you're pushing it into the front of the room. Get your attention, get your mind to your hips, and I want you to send your hips to the back of the room. I'm going to have you pull your chest up, Samuel, a little bit more. Arms straighter. Yeah, shoulders coming down. This is good, really good. Everyone, hug your belly in as you fold forward. Grab onto your legs, the backs of your knees, your ankles, somewhere in between, or maybe just the backs of your thighs. Hold on to the backs of the legs, wherever you have them, but you want to make sure it's not constricting. And you'll know you're constricted if you can't breathe. I like to say if you can't breathe in it, you can't be in it. Really simple. Take yourself all the way up to stand. Interlace your fingers over your head. Get your mind's focus right down into the feet and the legs. Fire up those legs. There's a lot of power in those quads. Activate it. Hips and thighs press gently forward. Tailbone softens toward the heels. Feel yourself on the inhale. The torso is like lifting, like it's lifting for blast off. And you're not blasting off. All you're doing is letting the breath go, and there's this tiny back bend. Now please take your hands behind you at your low back. Try as much as you can to squeeze the knuckles toward the floor. Press the shoulder blades together and feel your breath start trying to get under your collarbone. So really create space across the front wall of your chest. If possible, lift your hands and arms away from your hips. That'll open your chest even a little more. But keep breathing out. And release, arms to the sides. On your breath in, flip your palms out to the sides, spread the fingers, and just reach up. And a longer, slower exhalation with the knees very bent, fold forward. You're not looking to straighten the legs if they're really, really tight. You keep the knees soft, you let the breath out soften, and also soften the musculature. So you're in this pose. I haven't forgotten you. You are in this pose, but you soften through the exhalation. And just feel your hips lifting up a tiny, tiny bit. And then find your way into a halfway lift on your breath in. And use your exhale to step back to a plank position. It's really important that the heels stay in line with the hips. So first off, take your feet wider apart. So you take the alignment out. You mess it up. Do you feel you're not as powerful in your legs, guys? Yeah, and that is going to make more work for the upper body and the spine. So now line your heels up and press your heels straight back. Nice. Now let your thighs lift up away from the floor about an inch. Feel your tailbone soften down toward your heels. And keep breathing. Now look forward. Breath in. Rock forward. Breath goes out. Up facing dog. Find an up dog where you hang here for a minute. Well, not a minute. That might be a little extreme, but just a breath. Now soften the out breath. Press strongly back, downward dog. Really anchor down through those palms and those fingers. Breath in, out. In, out. In, out. Tiptoe. Be light in your step. Halfway lift. Breath in. Take your hands behind your back. Clasp hold. Fold forward. Empty the breath. all the way to stand. Long inhale gets you to lift up, but also reach a little beyond. And then fold forward. Lift halfway up. Belly in. Move yourself to a plank position. This time, take your arms wide apart. Excessively so that you'll feel like, geez, now really be in your legs though. Press through the heels. You got this. Lift those thighs up. Now get your hands underneath your shoulders where you feel supported, and then feel your shoulders be able to hike down toward the hips. Lift your gaze up, however. Belly pulls up too. Rock forward, empty out, slowly lower. Breath in, slowly be in up dog where you're willing to be there. And then send the breath out. Then breathe in. Then exhale. Use your inhalation to swell your lungs, to create swelling and expansion. And let it all go. One more. Fill up as if you're being swelled. And let it all go. And walk feet to your hands. Finding a flat back. Shoulders back. Forward fold. All the way to stand. With the breath alone. You have everything you need. You're not alone. Fold forward. Take the breath with you. Make it your ally. Let it swell your lungs. Halfway lift. Hug in the belly. Your belly being a strong core is an ally for the spine. Step back. High plank. Rock forward and lower halfway only. Right there. Upward dog. Downward facing dog. Sam, if you turn your fingers out a little, or not out, a little more in. Yeah. So you really have that stability. And then everybody, can you feel your inner arms squeeze toward each other? And then can you take your elbows and bend them just slightly out to each side wall? And then can you feel the inner upper biceps roll apart? And then empty the breath. Take one more. Inhale. Really swell up the lungs. Use your exhale to press the heart into the front thighs. Belly has to be tight, like you're fastening a seatbelt. And then tiptoe, crawl, or fly. Or something in between. Halfway up, breath comes in. Shoulders, move them down. Let the lungs have some room. Forward fold. Bend your knees. Sink your hips. Reach up. Fold forward. Breathe out. Lift halfway. Hips press strongly back. Spine pulls forward. Belly pulls in. High plank. Have the core pulled right into place. Low plank, breath goes out. Upward dog, press the palms, the arms, and the tops of the feet. You're not thinking of them because they're behind you, but they're with you. Downward facing dog. To anchor the tops of the feet into the floor, by the way, guys, is really helpful to taking pressure off the back. Back bend, it's the upward dog's a little back bend, so back bends come from really activating the legs. Let's take that again. High plank position, please. Long breath out. Bend the elbows so they're straight back behind you. Hug to your hips. Nice, Sam. Upward, breath in. Downward, breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Take your right foot forward. Now turn your back foot flat. Bring yourself to warrior one. So every bit of the focus is on what's in front of you. So right away, put your eyes on one place and land those exhalations so that the eyes also land which is very soothing to the nervous system. The breath is coming in and staying pretty much in the upper chest. There really isn't a lot of soothing, landing, grounding quality to the nervous system. So forget the pose for a minute and land those exhales to the bottom. And when you take those exhales to the bottom, you level that shit out. You want to level stuff out. Then allow your inhale to swell you so that you feel reach, you feel expansion. And allow the right knee to press open more. Firm up your back leg. See, if you're connected more powerfully to your breathing, you'll be so much more present, therefore in tune to if you're squeezing your back leg, if the knee is over the heel on the front foot, if you're pressing it open. Now, when you breathe out, feel the left hip and shoulder steer ever so slightly toward the front of the room. The right hip draws back as a result. Bring your palms to your heart. Press them strongly together. Move your shoulders out of the way. Take the breath right in under the collarbones and free it. High push-up. Low plank position. Upward facing dog where the tops of the feet want to press. Find your toenails and press them into the floor. Really good. Downward dog. Nice work, you guys. Take your left foot forward. Back foot grounded. Bring your attention to the front wall, but your inhale, your attention to coming up is by the inhale leading it. So try that out. The inhale gets you up to stand. A long, slow one, by the way. And your eyes land. You're going to go into your shoulders. Most likely your shoulders are all up under your ears. Take them down. Widen the arms apart if you need to. And then if you think, I'm going to take my inner upper biceps, I'm going to rotate them to the back of the room. And when you do that, it's going to rotate the pinky fingers a little bit too. Really good. And then you're going to bring awareness to softening your front ribs towards your belly button. And when you do that, it straightens out your back. Now I want you to really blow your chest out. Like you're a biker dude at a bar with an attitude. Because that's typically what happens. Biker dudes at a bar, they're all beefed out. But what no one tells the biker is that he's really trashing his middle back. So, tell your inner biker to soften his front ribs toward his belly button, or her belly button. And then do you guys notice that there's some shifted in the back? Do you notice it or not notice it?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, but I just had a vision of
Good, because there's a bunch of them showing up to give you some tattoos after class. Bring your palms to your heart, everybody. Beef out your chest. Now, first two fingers of the right hand, please. Right here on your rib cage, right at these rib points. You knit them together, then you soften them a little. Now, please take your left hand to your back, middle back especially. Beef it out. Do you feel that compression in the mid-back? You feel that like arching in? So now take the front ribs. So you're beefed out. Now take the front ribs, knit them together, soften them down. Now feel what happened to your spine. Straightened and lengthened. Yes. So everybody said, ding, 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 ding. Hands to the floor. High push-up. Ding, 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 ding. Low push-up. Up dog. Press back. Now I want you to get really conscious. Tell your inner biker dude to soften his or her ribs toward the belly button in down dog. Because you'll compress the mid-back too in down dog. You do it standing, you're going to do it in this position too. Have you ever heard the expression, how we do anything is how we do everything? To be aware of your own alignment And then you also get to know this. The discovery of, oh, but it's not that big a deal to just soften my front ribs toward my belly button. It feels a little foreign at first because we don't typically do it. We typically walk around all beefed out. But we do it so we can get air. We get air so we can get air in the lungs. But you recognize, soften my front ribs toward my belly button, even in my downward dog. Now beef out. Beef your chest toward the floor. That's it, Kendra. You knew exactly what to do. Yes, it's probably because you're a cat lady, too. And now, soften the front ribs toward the belly button. Good, Sam. Walk, feet to your hands. Lift halfway up. Lift up, please, where you consciously take a moment to press firmly the palms against the shins and consciously pull the spine forward as a result and move your shoulders down towards your hips. Now fold. Slide the hands down and fold. Bend the knees a lot. Let your head get heavier. Push down into the floor. Come on up. Soften the front ribs to the belly button, hands to the heart. Bend your knees. Take the arms straight up. Look up. Bring the weight into your heels, the weight into your heels. So Sam, what you're going to do is you're going to shift the shins back a little bit toward the calves, and that's automatically going to bring you into the heels. Everyone press chest right into your thighs. Wrap your arms around the backs of your legs. Lift halfway up, palms go to the shins, chest pulls to the front of the room. High plank position. High plank. Smile through this high push-up, but you're in the pose. Smile through it. Let there lighten up the intensity. Low push-up. Breathe out. Smile through low push-up. Especially if I had you hold it for 5 minutes. You'd have to smile. And upward dog. Find the feet. Find the feet. It's as if you're pushing the feet to the driveway while you press your heart to the front of the room. Move the shoulders toward the driveway too. Now, downward dog. Really send those hips up and back. Right foot stepping, warrior one. Use your inhale to come up. Use your slow exhale to make your way back down. High push-up. Rock forward, low push-up. Press the palms strongly to the floor and then the chest gets taller. You don't lift the chest, you press down through the arms and the chest will lift on as a result. Downward facing dog. Left foot, use your inhale to step into and rise up to warrior one. Let your exhale bring you to the floor. High plank. Lower down slow. Smile. Upward dog. Smile. Downward dog. Say cheese. Breath in. Out. Please shake out your head no vigorously. And it just dumps you out of your head a little bit. Sometimes as I'm listening to you guys breathing, I'll know when people are in their heads. Don't ask me how I know, but I'll know. And so shake that stuff out. Just shake it out. Yeah, like a crumpled up blanket. Shake it out. That gets immediate lightness. And then the body feels a little lighter too. Walk or jump, feet to hands. Awesome, Jim. Halfway lift, full breath, holy moly. Fold forward, breathe out. Now slowly shake your head, yes. Yes to a chair pose. Sit your hips down, bend those knees, and sit your butt down. And then further down. And back. And fold forward, chest to the thighs. Halfway up, breath in. Move back, high plank. Rock forward, low plank. Up facing, breath in. Press straight back, downward facing. Bend your right knee, left heel straighter. Bend your left knee, right heel straighter. Gently take your right knee to the floor. The right knee on the ground. Turn your left foot flat. So left leg straight and then turn it so it's just like a warrior 1 foot. Yep. Look at your right wrist. Have it underneath your right shoulder. Turn your torso to the left wall and extend the left arm up. If you take that right knee, Sam, a little bit more out, just a little bit so it's in line with your hip, and then take your hand under your shoulder more so we really get these shoulders. Yeah, support. Joints support one another. Yep. Lengthen your tailbone, everyone, toward the driveway. Just feel your low back ironing out. Slowly return, high plank position. Low plank with a smile. Upward dog with a smile. Downward dog with a smile. Left knee softens, right leg straightens. Side plank. Knee down, left wrist under shoulder. Don't open the chest. Don't be in a hurry to get the upper arm up here in the air. If your alignment is off, you'll struggle. You'll struggle. It's like having the castle and no bottom. Tailbone softening toward your driveway. Can you straighten this leg, bud? A little more? Yeah. Now anchor down through this outside of the back foot. That's perfect. Look at your wrist. Bring this under a little bit more. Now take this shoulder down. Pull it down away. So straighten the arm. Then just take this shoulder like towards your this hip. Breathe. Take the upper arm lower. There. Breathe in. Roll open more. Now beef out your chest to the ceiling. Open the mouth wide as you twist. Keep taking that tailbone and stretching it to the driveway. That's it. Release. Good work. Downward dog. Downward dog. Walk feet to your hands. Flat back. Fold forward. Breathe out. Head has to drop. Bend your knees. Take your arms up in the air. Use the strong exhalation, full exhalation, to pull the hands to the heart. Take a breath in. Use the left elbow as your guide, but use your torso. Turn your torso to the right. Take this left elbow down. Or just make it a little bit easier and just take the forearm across both thighs. And then you're going to take your attention to that left knee. If you look at your left knee, no doubt it's getting way ahead. So by pulling the left hip back, now sit your hips lower. That's great. Now take your torso and shine it to the right side of the room. And then take the arms apart. Make sure the palm on the upper hand is facing the logo wall. Now everybody, as you exhale, take the upper arm and just wrap it behind you. Pull your chest up off your thighs. Sit your hips lower, down. Now get your heart off your thighs. That's excellent. And breathe out. Take this a little lower so you don't have all this hiked up. And breathe out when you open up. Breath in. Breathe out. Breath in. Breathe out. And then release. Please take ragdoll. Feet wide. Hang. Opposite hand wraps around each elbow. Not near the elbow, but it just wraps around. That cradles it. Can you be in a space where your hands cradle your elbows? Can you take the time to do that? You think about how much you run around, and in your life you think, I don't have time, I don't have time. Well, yoga practice says start making the time. Start making the time, or you'll miss out. Just taking that moment to make your hands and wrap them around the elbows and just going side to side and taking a moment to just take your nervous system down a notch. Because all the I don't have time is having us all run around, and usually we'll have to get sick to slow down. We'll have to get sick to slow down. Now go ahead and bring your feet together. And with your feet together, press your hips down and take the arms straight up. But please bend the elbows. While the arms are reaching, can you bend the elbows? And can you hike the shoulders down? Can you bring the weight into your heels so then your hips are drawn back? If you could sit your butt and back of your thighs on a shelf, sit back there though, because the shelf is way behind you. Now just take your exhalation to turn your torso left, hands to the heart. Sit your hips a little lower. Pull your heart up a little bit more. Excellent. Twist out as you breathe out. And then just be mindful. Look at your right knee. No big deal, but the knee is getting ahead. So just take attention to the right hip. Draw it back. If you draw the right hip back, a little more, Kendra. Yes. Sit the hips low. Now get your heart off your thighs. We struggle in this pose, and usually it's not a preferable one for many. And the reason why is because it's hard to breathe. And the reason why is because the lungs are tight. The lungs are compressed in the way you're pressing the chest toward the thighs. So lift off the thighs with the heart and sink the hips further down. And then, if you like, you stay where you are with hands to the heart, or you twist open. And if you twist open, take the exhalation where the arm wraps around the back. And then use your breath in to get length through the spine. And then empty out. And then release. Feet hip width apart. Grab the big toes. Bend your knees a lot. Hook the fingers, first and second finger, and then loop the thumbs around the big toe. That's why you have to be stable in your footing. If you're not stable in your footing, again, without a foundation, the castle will just be wobbly. Now pull, you come back to center, pull your chest forward, and fold through the exhalation. Now come back to center, but this time just push your butt to the back wall, and notice how the spine lengthened away from the hips for you, yes or no? Fold slowly forward now. Take that one more time. You're going to specifically come up halfway. You're going to get your attention to your tailbone, your hips. You're going to anchor them to the back wall, like you're sticking your butt, crazy gluing it to the wall behind you. And when you soften, you're going to do it slow. Slowly fold in and fold down. Try to feel your hips start to lift just ever so slightly away from the heels. You're not in a yank. You're not in a yank. And feel your shoulders draw ever so slightly away from your earlobes. And then release your toes. Bring your hands to your hips. Come on up with the tailbone drawing down and the belly pulling in and up. And when you do that, press the hips and thighs forward and hug the elbows toward each other. Okay. Now, Come back up. Have your feet underneath your hips a little bit more. And then bring the feet together. All the way together. So it's like if there's space between the heels, that's fine. It's like your big toes are pressing against one another. Sweep the arms on your inhalation up. On your exhalation, take the arms lower than shoulder level. Press both shoulders and the backs of the arms. But can you take your attention to soften the front ribs toward the belly button? Press your shoulders and arms like they're against a wall. And then take your right arm underneath. Pick up the elbows. Bend the knees. Right leg wraps over. Bring your awareness to your foundation. Foundation has to have stability. Otherwise, the upper body represents the castle, and the castle will be all over the place and quickly topple. Foundation is legs, thighs, potent, squeeze them. There's power there, just activate it. Make that happen. Pull those thighs together strong. Sit your hips lower, breathing out. Long breath in, take the arms up. And long breath out. You're going to just bring the arms a little lower than shoulder level and consciously press shoulder heads and the backs of the arms. And then take the left arm under and the left leg over. Bring awareness to your eyes on one place. And we're going to take your spine, so we're going to straighten it, but you don't have to lean so far back. There you go. There you go. Sometimes we come back into right alignment and it can feel off for a moment or a couple of times. But we're in a process of training, and yet it's all just practice. It's just practice. Sink your hips lower, breathe everything out, and sweep up. And take the right arm and the right leg right over. One big fell swoop, but the eyes are landed, and the breath has precision. And you don't inhale until all the exhales move through. Then you inhale. And then you exhale. Really sweep up. Left side. It's important that the tailbone just irons out toward the bottom heel. And then that your just spine is straight and tall. And the way you do that, very slowly, everybody, bring your chest wall forward. And you'll have to work a lot harder to be here. Very slowly, start moving your way back until you feel my shoulders are over my hips. And yet it's not leaning way back, because that'll compress the upper mid-back. Shoulders right over the hips. Belly draws in. Bend the bottom knee as much as you can on the out-breath. Sweep up. Hands pull right to the heart, even a little lower, because that'll help pull the shoulders down. Very good. Please, on the inhale, left arm goes up in the air. On the exhale, right arm takes one big circle. And when it comes to the behind you, you bend the right knee, you grab the inside of the right foot. It's right where the thumb and the big toe will meet. This is all you're going to do. You're then just drawing the knee toward the left knee. And when you do that, it brings the knee and hip in more alignment. And if you're really tight in the hips, you'll have maybe a little space between the knees, but it's healthy space. Eyes eye level. Exhale to release. Inhale, arms goes up. Exhale, left arm wraps around. Release and switch sides, but the in-breath takes the left arm alongside the left ear. Now just try this. Your chest will press forward. Your back foot and back leg lift slightly up, and then kick the back foot into the hand. When you do this, you're going to feel how it stretches out the shoulder and the right pectoral muscle. The more you kick the leg back, the more stretch you'll get through the right shoulder and the right side of the chest, which will free up the lung. And then you do the same on the other side. Your eyes are eye level. Your breathing never gets put on layaway. Keep it with you. Keep it right with you. Your standing leg is your foundation. You just activate the muscle there. You'll press the chest forward. You'll draw the left leg up and a little away. And when you do that, the more you draw the foot and leg away, the more the left side opens. Awesome, you guys. Exhale to release out of the pose. Big breath in. Left arm goes up. Catch the right foot on the inside of it. So eyes and breath. Be mindful in your movements. Don't be in a big yank. Instead of being in a hurry, slow down. Because it's when you slow down, you pause for some consideration to what you're doing. And it's not just about what you're doing. Slowing down centers you so that you move and take action from a place of being. And as you release more of your tension, you start moving closer to your own being. Release. One more time on the other side. Find your focal point. Bottom leg, activate the muscle. The bottom foot, let it spread across the floor where the toes don't have to grip. Free the toes. There you go. And release as you breathe out slow. Very good. Bring your feet together at the front edge of your mat. Bend your knees. Take the arms, sweep them up. Fold forward where your chest presses right to your thighs. Knees are bent, head drops. Halfway lift, breath in. Shoulders, move them down. Yep. Find a halfway where you drop your hips a little more, Jim. Pull the chest a little farther forward. Take the hands right in the front. There. And breathe out. Move your way slowly back to high push-up. Slowly move through low push-up. Upward dog. Down facing. Right foot steps forward. Back foot turns down. Breath takes you up to warrior one. Then breath out opens the chest and the hips to warrior two. Bring your awareness to your tailbone. Straighten your right leg. Straighten it all the way. And reach as far out as you can for triangle. Try to lengthen the underside of your ribs, your bottom ribs too. Take both arms to, one arm to the sky, one arm to the earth. Earth being your legs. You're going to press your right hip towards your back heel a little bit. And you're going to just take the upper arm, turn it. And you're going to take the arm a little bit lower than shoulder level. And then I want you to mindfully press both shoulder heads to the wall directly behind your back. Take your shoulders down from your ears more. Bring yourself to stand. There you go. Turn the toes to face in. Hands on the hips, support your low back. Squeeze up the thighs. If you squeeze up your thighs, you're giving that conscious message, I am in support of my back in full. Hips and thighs go forward. Legs are strong, so squeeze them. Fold on the breath out. Thighs stay strong. Thighs stay strong. Now press through the outside edges of both feet. Release your hands to the floor. Turn your right toes to out and walk your hands over to the right side. Take a deep lunge on the right side. Hands on the floor, yep. Take your right foot if you can. Yeah, a little wider, Kendra. There you go. And if you can, Sam, you can step your right foot a little further forward. Yeah. And then come on back up. Move your hips over to the left. Turn the left toes outward, though. Press through the outside of the right foot. Take a deep lunge. Hands on the floor, fingertips on the floor. Drop your head. Let your exhale soften that left side down. Come back to center. Take your right toes, turn them to the front of the room. Then your back foot steps in, and then step back, high plank. Don't have your legs so far back that you lose the power of feeling the legs. Have your, everyone walk your toes in just slightly toward the wrists. So you kind of inch your toes, inch your feet up like a half inch or so. Press through the heels. Low push up. Shoulders, move them toward the hips when you lower. Upward dog. Feet pressing, downward facing. Left foot on your breath in, warrior one. Big inhale, long reach, make a long stride, and a long stride of an exhale, just opening you naturally to warrior two. Squeeze up your back arm and feel the arms being pulled apart. Jim, if you take that left foot a little more forward, a little bit more, and you want to find that, where can I create a little more space for myself without going into chaos because it became too much? Take this back arm a little, yeah. Now go ahead, everybody, left leg straightens out. Press this left hip toward the back heel while you reach as far out as you can through the right arm. Then take triangle. So you'll reach out, and then you'll take the fingertips, yep. And you'll take these shoulders down. There you go. I want you to figure out, if I go into my mid-spine, and I just simply press my shoulders back, my spine has to go forward. If I move my shoulders back, it makes more room for my spine to go toward my heart. And then go ahead and bring yourself to stand. All 10 toes face. You're in that straddle. You're lengthening the tailbone. Take your hands, guys, to your quads. Like, lift them up like you were putting on heavy wool socks. So really get the thighs off the kneecaps. Lots of support at the low back. Outer edges of the feet press away from one another. Inner thighs, press them against the outer thighs. Fold forward. Head softens. Use your breath in to lift only halfway. Consciously push your hips to the back wall. Spine gets a little away, and from there you take fold. So lots of strength through the legs and length through the spine. Turn those left toes out. Walk your hands over to each side of the left foot. Take a little lunge. Walk your hands over to the right. Turn the right foot out. And as you turn the right foot out, you still press strong through the left foot. Press the right knee open a little and exhale to soften the hips and groin toward the floor. Then go ahead and take the left foot to your attention. Turn it to face the front of the room. Come back to a high plank position. Rock forward where the chest is coming forward, but the shoulders are moving down toward the hips. Awesome. Upward dog. And downward facing. Breath goes in. And the breath clears. Shift forward, high plank. Rock forward, low plank. Upward dog. Downward facing. Take your hips to the right. Take your hips to the left. Take your hips back to center. And exhale the knees to the floor. Child's pose for a moment. Head drops. Arms land. Give it up. Tap into your inner biker and give it up. So you're just left with a more balanced sense of power. If you're balanced in mind, and you're balanced emotionally, and you're definitely present to your surroundings, to what's going on, and you got a little bit of space from rigid thinking, anxious thinking, wired thinking, well then definitely, not definitely maybe, definitely you are in more balance. And being in balance is being in our true power. Breathe everything out. Make your way out onto your belly. Take your hands straight back behind you. You're not going to interlace your fingers. You just take your arms alongside your hips. Now flip your palms to the floor. Now shimmy your arms and hands, the outer hands alongside the hips. Bring your forehead down to center. Press into the floor with your forehead. And silently, mentally tell yourself, reset to 0. Because Saturday is part of your week. Officially, it's still Saturday. It's still the tail end of the week. But yoga practice is powerful in reminding us we can create a fresh start at any moment. In any moment. So press your forehead down and just reset to 0. And then, as you breathe everything out, it's your inhale that will lift your head and shoulders off the ground. It's your inhale that will keep lifting your chest away from the floor. So when you take a breath in, your upper body just lifts. Press down through the palms onto the floor. Squeeze the arms toward the sides of your body. Use a big inhale to swell yourself right up to the heavens. And use your exhalation to completely find your way to the floor. And take another breath out. And on the inhale, lift up and launch. The bigger you breathe, the higher you come up. And then you let go through the exhalation though. Now, when you lift up, take your arms off the floor, but straight back behind you. Go for it. Inhale, come up. Palms face down. And then the shoulder blades squeeze towards center. You keep lifting, but then tuck your chin in a little bit so the neck has more length. So tuck your chin to your chest a little bit, but the head doesn't collapse yet. Exhale, come down. Bend your knees and windshield wipe the legs and feet side to side. Cheek to the other side. Slow, slow. Feet hip width apart. Very good. Come back to, bring your legs and feet back to the floor. Make your way into up facing once again. In this up dog, you're looking over the right shoulder. Your left hip will naturally drop toward the floor a little bit. Through the exhalation, it'll drop more. If you give more through the exhale, the left hip will let go more. Come back to center. Big, long breath in. Shoulders move back. Look over the other shoulder. If possible, Sam, walk your hands under your shoulders a little bit more so you get more lift, but by pressing down through the arms. The right side just softens. The right thigh, the right hip softens toward the ground. Bring yourself back to center. Come into downward dog. And this time, you're going to bring your knees to the floor. Let's take a camel, but let's take just a little different variation. So you're just going to take camel, but still first roll up your front edge of your mat. And if you feel you can do it, Kendra, this one you'll need. So come up onto the balls of the feet. Bring your awareness to your tailbone. Then tilt your pelvis to the back wall. So you really stick your butt out. And then drop it down. And then stick your bum out. So you really find that action of when the pelvis tips forward and then down. Make sure the knees are really underneath the hips. If the knees are open a little wider, you'll lose power in the legs. In fact, try that, please. Take your knees a little wider apart so that you'll feel, are you in your legs as much? No. So now get underneath the hips. Soften the tailbone down. Now, I want you to take your hands, your thumbs. I'd like you to just simply hook them right into the, underneath the armpits. Still very important in this variation that the tailbone's dropping and the thighs are pressing like they're pressing against a wall. Hip points too. And then you're just kind of taking your fingers to the ceiling, shoulders soften. You keep pressing right in under the armpits. This will start getting into the lung meridian. If you can let your head go, really look to stretch out your throat. Come on back up. Pause for a moment and just sit your hips down on your heels. Okay. If this is possible, take your hands behind you. If it is possible, lift up one knee while you'll feel the foot press into the floor. The more you lift the knee up away from the floor, the more you're going to feel the stretch through the top of the right foot. How is that? You feel that stretch through the foot? How about you, Sam? Okay. So maybe for you, Sam, beef out your chest and just stretch back like the head, yeah. And for you guys, lift the left knee off the floor. The more you lean back and the more you pick up that left knee, the more you'll feel that stretch. Got it, Kendra? Okay. Now come on up. Hands to the floor. Lift the feet up. And I'd like you to start very slowly circling, taking circles with your ankle joints. And then just take the counter movement. And if you can, it's as if you're stretching your toes towards your shins while your heels push. You should feel that a little bit through the heels. Okay? And then I'd like you to take your right foot into a lunge where you are. It's great to have some cushion on the left knee anyway. And if you can, start sliding the right heel out in front of you. Sit your hips back. Then come into the lunge. Rock the hips forward. And then if you can, straighten the right leg out. Walk the hands back too. And you start, And you're going to press through the ball and heel of your foot as if you're pushing that against a wall. And then come on up. Come forward in a lunge on the right leg. Let the hips soften. And then if you can, just take your hips over to the right. Take your hip over to the right side. Stretch it out a little bit. Then just kind of swing that left hip down. And just kind of stretch out the left side. Come back to center. Go over to the right side. Take your hips back toward the back heel. Straighten out through the right leg. And if it's at all possible, just use your exhales, though, to allow the chest to soften toward the front leg. As you're pressing out strongly through the heel of the right foot, toes strongly draw back. You can keep your knee a little bent, by the way. If you're really tight in the hamstring, you got to. Otherwise, you're just practicing from ego, which none of you have in here, by the way. And then go ahead, and I'd like you to take yourself back up onto your knees. Really support your back. Lengthen the tailbone down and press. Hips and thighs forward. Feel your heart. You don't want to just bend back. You want to lift up through the heart. And you want to press the shoulders to the floor underneath you. And if you like, hook your thumbs right into those armpits again. And feel yourself be breathed. Use your inhales to swell the lungs. And your day will feel swell because of the space you had to breathe. Breathing room makes everything just feel manageable. Definitely better. Now, okay, release the hands. You're going to bring that left foot forward into a lunge now. And you're going to let the hips just sink forward and down. The back foot and the back leg, stretch it as much as you can. Then go ahead and let your hips press straight back toward your heels. The left leg's going to straighten, and the toes pull back toward your shin. Breathe out. Mindfully come right into a lunge. Hips sink forward and down. Make sure, guys, the top of the back foot presses into the floor, okay? Press that back foot down. You might feel it a little more intense in the hip flexor as a result. Breathe through that intensity. Smile through it. Let your hips sit back. Press your chest forward as much as your body tells you. And it's your hamstring. Right now, your hamstring is your teacher. I'm not your teacher. I'm in support of your body being your teacher. It's a very different way to teach. I let your body guide me. And I emphasize that that's where it needs to stay. Your body is your teacher. And your breathing, patterning, the length of an inhale and exhale will guide you. It'll teach you. If you're stressed out, if you're maxed out, if you're tired, If you feel blah, it's got everything to do with how much breath you take in and how much you let go. Go ahead, rock forward again into that lunge. Let your hips swing gently over to the left side. And then allow your hips to slowly move over to the right side. Go to the place where you feel something happen in your body. Because if it's not happening in your body, then it just looks good. But I'm not interested in it looking good. You have the rest of your day to look good. I want you to feel good. And if you find that nice juicy spot, keep exhaling when I speak. It'll also look good because it'll feel good. So it's really funny how we've just created ourselves, molded ourselves from all these externals when really tapping in to the inner GPS, the intuition, which is the language of feeling, will guide and lead and create everything. And that's what you want to do. You want to do it from the inside out. Bring yourself back and make your way onto your back. So unroll your mat, get onto your back. Stretch your legs out on the floor in front of you. Stretch the arms. And as you breathe out, the right knee squeezes toward the chest. Then you take a breath in. And then you simply take the left hand on the outside of the right knee and you just move the right leg across the body to the left. Chin tucks to the right shoulder. Palm is up. And the arms a little bit lower than shoulder level. Earlier I was speaking at the beginning of the practice, which feels like quite a bit of time ago, being that we hung out with biker dudes beefing out their chests in a bar. But in the beginning of practice I was speaking about keep remembering to breathe as I speak. Remember to stretch those exhales long. And that's what I was talking about. I was talking about how I have a very big day, a lot of work today, more so than usual, which is all good stuff, But it's still, I had some overwhelm. I was wired because I felt like a little edgy, overwhelmed, anxious. And in that space, my breathing is not ironed out like any of you. Come back to center, hug the knee to the chest, and extend the leg out. Switch sides. But as I started to just come back to breathing, my mind settled, and suddenly my meditation was right there. My meditation was right there. And there was like no work to it. I just was willing to keep my butt in the chair and just kept staying focused on breath and my fingertips. We are at our most powerful when we find that center and create from that space. We usually lose a lot of power in the externals of life. People outside us and their opinion and what they want us to do. Worried what people will think. Getting all anxious about our day or presentation or whatever. You get centered and from that space, everything is just very even keeled, and then you're so present, and in that presence, your practice will create itself, your day will do you, led from the inside out. Much of our thoughts are, say you saw somebody, and the last time you saw them, you had a run-in with them. So right before you see them, right away, if there's any time to think about it, you're probably thinking about that last time. But that is not this time. That is not this day. And we have the power through this practice to wake back up to, we can create and begin again. And anything can happen in a day, all the time. Bring your knee back up. Exhale, hug it in tight. Feel it stretch slowly and lengthen out of the hip as it lands on the floor. The practice is about strength. It's about flexibility. Those things are more like the added bonus. We start out with them being really important. We think that's what yoga is about. Yoga is not about poses. Yoga is about letting the breath and the movements open up, stretch out, release tension from the body where it typically holds it, creating a new space. And from that new space, mentally and emotionally, we swell. We move from contraction to expansion. And yet the practice of yoga recognizes that we need those two to be in balance. If we're too contracted, there's no room for expansion. There's no room for trying a new thing. A lot of people want stuff to change, but they don't want to do anything beyond what they do. I work with a lot of people like that in my coaching. And I have a lot of compassion for it, because that was always me too. As you start finding that the practice starts working on you to soften you, as you give up tension, you move closer to your own being, which is really just your best self. The more you bring yoga into your life, the more you have access to your best self. From that place, you stop judging. As you soften on the inside, it creates just space for other people to be human like you. But really, the best things are not a forced change. They just kind of unfold into something a little more, a little bigger. And the more you practice, the more you start hungering for that. And I think it possibly could be when we stretch out all sides of the body, it creates more expansion. Turn upside down, twist to the right, twist to the left. To feel the backside of the body. Much of life and humanity is just their one way, and it's so fixed. And if everything is so fixed, there's no space for a possibility that the ego didn't plan for. But that's the space of miracles and insights. And if you're just simply a little more relaxed, you might be willing to try a new thing, go in a different direction, wander where there is no path. Bring your hands, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And just feel a very quiet but very powerful, but subtle in its power. Breath in, where you swell, where there's a natural expansion, and then a letting go. When you release tension, you come closer to your real body, your natural posture, your true alignment, your natural sense of ease. And as you become just closer to your own authenticity, everything else that's not part of that falls away. So let your exhales allow whatever else to fall away, like it's just meat falling off the bone. But it was cooked so tender, so there's no holding on. It just lets go, but from a place of such peace and a gratitude. As you move closer to that very truest, authentic you, your home. Take a big breath in. And a sigh of gratitude. Draw your knees to your chest. Rock gently side to side until you roll all the way to the right. And when you roll all the way to the right, make a pillow for your little head. Let your feet land on the ground. Let everything soften. Like your whole body just gives way to the floor like it's meat falling off the bone. Nice and easy. When you allow the physicality to land, the breath lands. Press your palms to the floor. Bring yourself to seated. Bring your palms to the heart. Bowing, acknowledging your yoga practice as a tool to allow you to go within. You'll feel much more fulfilled on the out. Namaste. Very, very, very good. Really good. Good job, Kendra. It was really funny, Jim, to have you standing there at one point. You're like this. At one point, your fingertips were just dripping sweat up onto the floor. And I thought, well, should that be a moment I put on the fan? And then I thought, no, he's doing good.
You should get a snapshot of it.
I should have. When I said say cheese, that's what I should have done. Sam, did you have a wonderful trip?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was wonderful.
Oh, yay.